Hello, everybody. This is Dr. David Jockers, and today we're talking about serotonin. It's called the happy molecule because serotonin is a neurotransmitter that's produced by our gut and our brain, and it plays a huge role in our overall mood, our satisfaction in life. It also plays a very important role in impulse control, so controlling just sudden impulses to give us better social tact, and very important for pain relief. And so we're going to go into the details of serotonin and really the best foods and strategies to boost up our serotonin levels naturally. You're also going to understand the common symptoms associated with low serotonin. So let's jump into this topic. And if you don't know me, my name is Dr. David Jockers. I speak all around the country on a number of different health topics and really have a specialty in brain health, energy, ketogenic diet, anti-aging, and gut health. And so I'm in a lot of different online summits, and I've got a very active YouTube station here that you may be listening to this on. This is my wife, my beautiful wife, Angel, my little boys, David and Joshua, and these guys really help boost my serotonin because really just interacting with people and seeing a child smile is one of the best things for helping boost up your feel-good, pleasure-based neurotransmitters like serotonin, like endorphins, and different things like that. So what are some of the major symptoms of low serotonin? Well, it's typically associated with things like anxiety disorders and frequent worrying. So if you notice that your mind is just racing and you're constantly focused on things that you're worried about, things that, really ultimately you have no business worrying about. That's a sign you may have low serotonin. Seasonal affective disorder. So that's sad where in the wintertime, you just get really, really depressed. That's a sign of low serotonin. In fact, we know sunlight exposure helps to boost serotonin. So when you're not getting the UV light exposure, the sunlight, you can very often end up with seasonal affective disorder. And sometimes using full spectrum lighting in your house can be very helpful for that. Trouble falling asleep. We know serotonin is a precursor to melatonin, the sleep hormone. So if you're having trouble falling asleep at night or you're not able to sleep through the night, it's a sign you may have low serotonin. If in general you're a very light sleeper, you're easily awoken, could be a sign of low serotonin levels. If your mood is all over the place, you're struggling with frequent moodiness, again, another issue associated with low serotonin. And you can see these other ones like cravings, for example. When we eat sugar or sweets, that can oftentimes boost up our neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. So oftentimes cravings can be associated with low neurotransmitters like serotonin. Lacking confidence, alcohol or other drug addictions can oftentimes be a combination of dopamine and serotonin. That's something that we'll often see as depression with addictive behaviors associated with a low production of serotonin, dopamine, and also oftentimes endorphins. Now, to differentiate a few of these things, with serotonin is the most common neurotransmitter deficiency associated with anxiety and trouble falling asleep. So that's a big thing to look out for. When it's very low endorphins are these feel-good molecules that our body produces in response to, for example, laughter will help produce endorphins. Exercise helps produce endorphins, and they have a really strong pain relief component to them. So when somebody is low in endorphins, oftentimes they have chronic pain. They also will often just cry out of nowhere. That can oftentimes be an endorphin deficiency. On top of that, with endorphins, they oftentimes just have no feeling of pleasure at all in their life because endorphins are really, really strongly associated with pleasure. So those are things to look out for there. With dopamine, usually it's a depression with addictive type of behaviors. Oftentimes can also long-term with dopamine deficiency can lead to a Parkinson's tremor. Something to look out for, or just really, really slow movements. And also no real desire to go after goals too. So that's another big thing with low dopamine. Okay, so just kind of trying to differentiate here, but ultimately low serotonin. We also see oftentimes headaches with low serotonin. Fibromyalgia is a common condition with low endorphins as well as serotonin, and also sometimes dopamine. So we have all of these different neurotransmitters. And that's why when I'm working with people, I'll use a neurotransmitter questionnaire because I find that it really helps me identify which neurotransmitters are at their lowest. Okay. But you can see all of these major symptoms associated with low serotonin levels. So how do we test for serotonin? Well, one test I will do is a urine biomarker test. And actually, most people don't realize this, but 95% of the serotonin in our body is actually produced in our gut, in our digestive system. So not our brain, but our gut. Only 5% is in our brain. So in our gut, our body obviously will excrete a lot, and there will be different metabolites that are produced. And so we do a urine test called an organic acid test, and it will look at different metabolites of neurotransmitters. For example, if you look towards the bottom here, you can see homovinylic acid, HVA, which is a breakdown product of dopamine. So you can see on this individual, they should be like basically in the middle of the gold line, and you'll see that they're a little bit elevated there. They're right around optimal levels of VMA, which is a breakdown product of adrenaline. Okay, so that's what we're seeing there. They're 5-hydroxyindolacetic acid, okay, 5-HIAA. That is a metabolite of serotonin. You can see they're close to optimal there. I will see this test, and I run this test very commonly, and I see it low quite often. Probably about 75 to 80% of the time, I'll see an individual with very low 5-HIAA, low serotonin production, low serotonin recycling. And the number one cause of that is because of leaky gut. So damage to the gut. And also on top of that, I'll see issues with nutrient deficiencies, which oftentimes are associated with leaky gut. So anyways, this is the organic acid test that I used to look at that. Now let's look at this. What reduces serotonin levels? Well, I talked about leaky gut, which plays a big role. Also chronic mental and emotional stressors. So if we're stressed out, we're going to deplete our serotonin levels, really all of our neurotransmitters. So we got to keep stress under control. Sleeping is so important for recycling our neurotransmitters. Our body literally will recycle the neurotransmitters. It will help drain them and reproduce neurotransmitters in our sleep. So if we don't sleep well, then we're going to have low neurotransmitters on a regular basis. Poor blood sugar stability. When our blood sugar is going up and down, jumping up and down, it's going to drain our neurotransmitters. It's going to cause more inflammation in our brain, which will also lead to low neurotransmitter production. So we got to keep that blood sugar stable. We need key nutrients for serotonin. We need B vitamins, particularly B1, B2, B6, and folate, which is also B9. The most common ones that I see deficient on my organic acid test are B2 and B6. B2, riboflavin, and B6 I will see very commonly deficient, whereas a lot of people also will have things like a MTHFR gene mutation that can cause inability to use folic acid or folate effectively, so they may need more of those B vitamins. Magnesium, this is so critical. Magnesium is probably the most important nutrient for brain, if that it helps to modulate all the neurotransmitters so we don't overproduce and excrete neurotransmitters and then burn ourselves out. So it helps to really help coordinate the flow of neurotransmitters, which is very important for optimal serotonin levels and feeling good on a regular basis. So magnesium is key. Vitamin D deficiency, vitamin D, very key for production of neurotransmitters. Synapse development, which is all the little gaps between the neurons. So very important there. Subluxation in our spine. So when we have blockage, particularly our upper cervical, top of our spine, and a bone shifts and puts pressure on a nerve in that area, that right there is going to restrict healthy neurotransmitter production and affect our serotonin levels. Sedentary lifestyle. We know exercise helps boost up all of our neurotransmitters. So getting our body moving on a regular basis, very important for that. Omega-3 fatty acids, very important for neurotransmitter development, neurons, all the brain cells, and neuronal cells in general throughout our entire nerve system, dependent upon these long-chain omega-3s, particularly the ones coming from fish sources or animal sources, the EPA and DHA, the very long-chain omega-3s. Chronic brain inflammation. So if we have blood sugar imbalances, if we have infections, if we have leaky gut, it's going to cause chronic brain inflammation. In fact, we say leaky gut equals leaky brain, meaning that when the gut is damaged Now it's going to cause inflammation in the body, and that inflammation is going to get in the brain. And of course, brain inflammation, it's like a brain on fire. We're not going to be able to produce the neurotransmitters that we need. There's also certain types of SNPs, or nucleotide polymorphisms, single nucleotide polymorphisms, particularly MAO, which is monoamine oxidase uptake inhibitors, which help to recycle neurotransmitters. So if that's moving fast or slow, it's going to affect the ability of serotonin production. And also 5-HTT, which is a key for the production of serotonin as well. And if that is not functioning the way it's supposed to, it's going to affect serotonin levels. So what are some steps to heal? Well, from a nutrition perspective, I recommend a healing diet. So if somebody has low serotonin, I put them on a healing diet. What does that mean? That means, number one, we reduce sugar and grains. Number two, we get rid of bad fat. We add in a lot more good fat. You can see the picture of avocados there. And we got to keep the blood sugar stable. So sugars, grains, these things throw off our blood sugar. So they're going to cause the blood sugar imbalances that we know are going to cause more brain inflammation. Whereas the good fats are going to help stabilize our blood sugar, which is going to allow the brain to be able to produce the neurotransmitters that it needs. And we want nutrient-dense sources of good fats. So avocados are a great source of potassium, magnesium that we talked about, fat-soluble nutrients, these carotenoid antioxidants like lutein and zeaxanthin and vitamin E, all real key for brain function. Also grass-fed butter, which is an awesome food for the brain. Grass-fed butter has got things like butyrate, which helps with gut healing. It also has vitamin A retinol, so fat-soluble vitamin A, which is super key for brain function. It also has conjugated linoleic acid and choline, which is real key for acetylcholine production, which is really the neurotransmitter responsible for memory. So grass-fed butter is great. Coconut oil is awesome, or coconut products in general, olives and olive oil. All those are my favorite fat sources. And we also want to change the meat that we eat. We want to get rid of grain-fed and add in lots of grass-fed. Grass-fed meat is going to have high amounts of omega-3 fats, conjugated linoleic acid, things like B12 that are in there. Grass-fed is significantly more nutrient-dense than grain-fed. Grain-fed will cause brain inflammation. So stay away from the grain-fed. Go with grass-fed, pasture-raised, organic. When it comes to fish, you want wild-caught fish. So really, really key parts of this diet. And we break this down, and we want to make sure the fats are at the bottom. That they're literally the foundation. We're getting most of our calories from these good fat sources. Non-starchy veggies, so lots of green leafy vegetables, cruciferous vegetables. Also on top of that, herbs. So things like basil, oregano, thyme, ginger, turmeric, cinnamon. These things are awesome for the brain, really good for the gut, really healthy for our body. Low glycemic fruits, so doing things like berries, lemons, limes, rich in antioxidants, really help with increasing blood flow to the brain, and they're low in sugar. Clean proteins, so that's again our grass-fed, wild-caught, like we've been talking about. Fiber, which other than vegetables, another good fiber source is going to be nuts and seeds, pumpkin seeds, hemp seeds, chia seeds, pecans, almonds, walnuts, macadamia nuts, Brazil nuts. These things are great for the brain, great for serotonin production. Fermented foods, so that's going to be things like kimchi, sauerkraut, coconut water kefir, pickles. These are awesome for our gut. And our gut microbiome, the good bacteria, are going to be responsible for producing a good amount of the serotonin in our body. So good fermented foods that have a combination of prebiotics as well as probiotics can really support healthy serotonin production. And then natural sweeteners. We want to stay away from things like aspartame, MSG, Splenda. All of those things will damage our gut and our brain and reduce neurotransmitter production. So instead, we want to use things like stevia, monk fruit, right? Those are my favorite sweeteners. And we want to avoid, I don't recommend doing a whole lot of honey or maple syrup just because of the sugar content. But if you do use them in moderation. Okay, so that's important. Okay, a couple things I missed, and I will jump into it. I'm going to talk about some of these best serotonin boosting foods. But I also wanted to mention that a couple differentiating factors that can help a clinician or really anybody understand if serotonin is low would be, for example, somebody that responds well to melatonin supplements, right? So like you're not sleeping well, but you respond well when you take melatonin supplements. That's a sign of serotonin deficiency because serotonin is needed to produce melatonin. So your body may not be producing enough serotonin to get the melatonin up. So that's one key, okay? So look out for that. Also, people that respond well to antidepressants. Most of the antidepressants on the market are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So when you have a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, like a Prozac, a lot of these ones that you've probably heard of, okay? These things, some of my clients tell me they had terrible side effects, okay? And that's probably because they were also deficient in other neurotransmitters like dopamine. When somebody's very deficient in dopamine and serotonin, they're not going to respond as well to taking an antidepressant, as opposed to somebody who's just really struggling with serotonin. They may respond well to something like that. And that would be a sign that they're low serotonin levels, and we need to address that. So again, some of the best foods, we talked about a lot of them, but wild-caught sockeye salmon, for example, is awesome, or sardines, because of the omega-3 fatty acids that are in there, which are just so powerful for healthy brain and neurotransmitter function, also very anti-inflammatory. Green tea is very rich in something called theanine. And theanine really helps to boost up serotonin levels in the brain, really naturally boosts up serotonin. So very helpful. Dark chocolate boosts up all of our neurotransmitters, has things called PEAs, which help to boost neurotransmitters and make us feel really good, the good balance of serotonin and dopamine. Fermented foods, because they support the gut microbiome and allow the gut to be able to produce the B vitamins we need for serotonin. And also they'll help produce serotonin. The good gut bacteria itself will help with overall serotonin production. And then things like, good herbs like turmeric, for example, which is very anti-inflammatory for the brain, the gut, will really help with optimal serotonin production. So let's talk about some different supplements that are associated with serotonin. Well, what we know is that there's a lot of them out there, okay? And magnesium is one of the key ones that I use. But really the big ones are 5-HTP, okay, omega-3 fats. We've been talking about that with the fish. Magnesium, because it's so important for modulating brain chemistry. That's really the first one that I'll usually get people on, is a good high quality magnesium. You know, magnesium is to the brain and to the body what oil is to the car, meaning that, you know, we need magnesium in order to run effectively. And if we don't have it, which most people don't, they don't have enough magnesium, then we're going to struggle. There's so many different, over 300 different enzymatic functions, and magnesium plays a role in. It just helps reduce the bombardment of stress hormone in the brain, really helps with healthy synapse, which are these little gaps between the neurons. Very important for that, very important for good memory, cognitive acceleration, just really to be able to function at our peak potential and balance out the stress response. So brain calm magnesium is the best one because it's got a type of magnesium called magnesium L-threonate, which crosses the blood-brain barrier and has a really powerful effect on brain chemistry. So that's what I recommend. That's kind of like a first line. Change your diet, get on a good brain calm magnesium would be a great first step. Okay, other good things would be things like B complex vitamins, L-theanine, rhodiola, which is an adaptogenic herb, is really good for serotonin. SAM-E, okay, is another one. And then St. John's wort can all help with serotonin. So my next supplement that I'll use is called Mood Protect. And Mood Protect has 5-HTP in it, which we talked about. It also has GABA, which really helps to reduce anxiety. So when I see a lot of people with anxiety, we really get them on the Mood Protect and the magnesium, because the effect of the GABA helps to reduce impulsiveness and helps to create more calmness in the brain. So very, very powerful for that. This also has vitamin B6 in its pre-activated form, P5P, which is really key for production of neurotransmitters. So I see a lot of people deficient in B6, and Mood Protect helps with that. It also has other compounds like a little bit of B12 in there, other B vitamins, vitamin C, to help support brain chemistry. It also has L-theanine, which we talked about before, which was in the green tea, very good for calming the brain. So I'll have a lot of times people using this Mood Protect in the evening or at night before they go to bed to help with really good high quality sleep. A lot of people tell me they sleep awesome when they use this. Also, people that are noticing a lot of stress, maybe stress at work and anxiety, I'll have them use a small dose of this, oftentimes in the afternoon, along with the magnesium, and that can be really helpful. Okay. Last but not least is our Adapt Strong supplement. This has got rhodiola, B6. It also has B5, which is necessary for stress hormone production, cordyceps. This is what I give when people are telling me not only are they depressed, trouble sleeping, but they also really struggle with energy throughout the day. Okay. Energy, they feel weaker. Adapt Strong is really good. Rhodiola, really, really good for energy and strength. So I really like that. And I'll use that on a number of clients I use this supplement with. And sometimes I'll have patients on Adapt Strong in the morning, Mood Protect possibly in the afternoon. Okay, maybe Adapt Strong in the afternoon if they're noticing their energy really goes down. But then possibly Mood Protect at night to help them with good sleep. And then magnesium really throughout the day to help keep the stress hormone under control, boost up neurotransmitters, and keep them functioning and really just allow them to function well. And we typically see very good results with a protocol like that and using that on a regular basis. So these are just some supplement strategies to help with neurotransmitters, to help balance out these key molecules that play a big role with our quality of life and our experience of life. So anyways, with that, if you want more information about really just how to put these things together, the right supplement plan, which neurotransmitters you're struggling with, I'd highly recommend checking out my Super Brain online program because I go through all of that in detail, including providing the nutrition, a recipe plan, snack guides, meal plan, quick start food guides, exercises called neurobics that can help strengthen deep areas of your brain, Super Brain Yoga, which is a specific exercise that will help ramp up neurotransmitters and help you to function better. So anyways, all of that in detail is in this online program that took me, literally it's about 30 hours of instruction with videos, with e-guides, everything you can imagine to help you just have success with improving your brain function. So if you were to hire me for 30 hours, it's going to cost you, anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000. But because I was able to put this all in an online suite, I'm able to sell it for a lot less than that. It's just $97. So it's less than $100 to get lifetime access to all the updates, everything I'm doing with this program. So I would definitely recommend enrolling in that and use that as kind of like a college course to impact your brain, your body, and really to get your health back. So if this message resonated with you, if it's something that you've wanted to improve your serotonin levels, then definitely take advantage of that. And we will see you guys on a future video. God bless everybody. Bye-bye.